What is most fitting about tonight's award and its recipients is how lives can converge, lives that were not limited to the tragedies they endured. Both my family and the Shepards know the potential for hateful rhetoric to be the catalyst for violent action. Like my dad, it was the loss of a loved one that thrust the Shepards into the national spotlight. The strength of our democracy is predicated on civil disagreement, but there is no place for vitriolic speech, whether the target is the president of the country or a college student in Wyoming. We must condemn this kind of speech and call it for what it is. Yet even my dad did not face the situation that the Shepards did. My dad was the youngest of 4 brothers, and tragedy left him as the sole torchbearer for a legacy established by his brothers before him. He had already willingly entered the public sphere, and it was the lessons of his brothers which gave him the strength to proceed. Judy and Dennis Shepard never asked for this role. They never wished for their child to become the symbol of a movement, never wanted him to become the namesake of landmark legislation. But Judy and Dennis Shepard, on the great American tradition of ordinary Americans doing extraordinary things, took the hate and sadness of their unspeakable tragedy and found in it the courage and commitment to speak out. They spoke out so that other families could be spared the pain of losing a loved one to hate. Families like 15-year-old Lawrence King, a gay young man who identified as feminine, was shot to death in California classroom, a hate crime. Gwen Araujo, a teenage transgender woman brutally murdered because of 4 men who targeted her. 25-year-old Sanisha Stewart, a transgendered woman stabbed to death. Angie Zapata of Colorado, a transgender woman beaten to death by her assailant, a hate crime. If we do not make a conscious decision to break this cycle today, then who are we to question these kinds of tragedies when they happen again? Judy and Dennis Shepard's commitment to push for hate crimes legislation has lasted over a decade. Today, their hard work is closer than ever before to coming to fruition. And what a historic night this has been, with the President of the United States standing up here and making the commitment to sign not only that legislation, but stand fair and square behind legislation to back civil rights in this country. After the President's speech tonight, I, too, am once again so proud to call myself an American with the President of the United States like Barack Obama as our President. The Matthew Shepard Hate Crimes Prevention Act legislation that originated with my father has been included in the National Defense Authorization Act. This legislation is alive and well on Capitol Hill, and it still has a Kennedy behind it. I am pleased to say that on Thursday I will have cast my vote in support of the Matthew Shepard Hate Crimes Prevention Act for what I'm confident will be the very last time. The message that we'll send will be so amazing. I want to acknowledge as well Tipper Gore, who I've had the good honor of working with for many years. She has been an outspoken leader on the area of mental health parity, which requires that insurance companies not be able to discriminate in insurance policies against those like myself with addiction and mental health disorders. And we were able to pass last year the Wellstone Mental Health and Addiction Equity Act, thanks to Tipper Gore and many others in this room. And the reason I say that's so important is because we know the power of stigma and what that stigma does to people. And tragically, in the gay, lesbian, transgender, and bisexual community, this stigma has led to an ever-increasing suicide rate amongst our young people. And so having that mental health parity pass and having that equal coverage extend to young people in this country for whom suicide is the third leading cause of death is such an important piece of legislation. I want to thank Tipper Gore again for her help in that area.